Yo, what it do? It's Tatty Bonez back with another video, and today we are doing a Mount Rushmore for each decade in wrestling. Alright, we're gonna go from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and we're gonna predict the Mount Rushmore for 2020. Alright, I think this will be the best way to do it. Alright, so I got my 4 for each decade, so let's start it off. Alright, the 1980s, my first Mount Rushmore pick is gonna be none other than Harley Race. I believe he was a 3-time NWA champion. I mostly know him for winning the King of the Ring, King Harley, walking around with the purple, you know, the little gold, you know. I know Triple H moves with the knees and stuff like that. Just can't go through the 80s without mentioning Harley Race. All right, so Harley Race will be in that number 1 spot for me. Number 2 is going to be Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair won so many titles, and in that time right there, I feel like that was his prime with the 4 Horsemen, NWA, AWA. I mean, Ric Flair was the man. So Ric Flair is going to get that 2nd spot. 3rd spot is going to go to none other than Hulk Hogan. He gets a lot of hate now, and that's brought on himself, but back in the day, and especially in the 80s, Hulk Hogan was the number 1 guy. I mean, you couldn't say wrestling without mentioning Hulk Hogan. So Hulk Hogan is going to get that 3rd spot to me. And the 4th spot is going to go to none other than Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. NWA champion. You know, I wasn't born in the 80s, you know, so I had to go back and learn about these guys, but you cannot talk about the 80s without mentioning those 4. So those 4 are my Mount Rushmore for the 1980s. Again, is Ric Flair, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, and Hulk Hogan. All right, moving on to the 1990s. This era right here, I was a kid. This when I first started learning about wrestling, getting into it. So trust me, I know everything that happened from 1990 to 1999. All right, number 1, we're gonna go with the dead man, The Undertaker. The Undertaker made his debut in 1990, won the belt in 1991. I believe he was in the top Royal Rumble of all time. A lot of people say that's the most star-studded. 1992, he was in that. 1994, he had one of the most memorable matches with the fake Undertaker versus the real Undertaker. 95, he held it down, going against Mabel and everything. 1996, I feel like was his breakout year. 1997 was also even better than that. 1998, he brought in Kane and had great matches with Stone Cold, Mankind, and Kane. 1999, he brought in the Ministry. And if you go think about the 90s, Undertaker had that whole decade sold up. So we're going to put Undertaker in that Mount Rushmore list. Next up, we're going to go with my number 2 pick in the Mount Rushmore. We're going to go with Sting. All right, I just remember back in the day going to the old video stores, and all of the old WCW tapes had Sting in them. From the House of Horrors match in Halloween Havoc, I believe that was, what, 1990? I could be wrong. All of the main events he had with Vader. I mean, Sting had held the belt. In the early part of the 90s, we had Surfer Boy Sting. In the mid 90s, we had the Crow Sting. In the later 90s, we had the Wolfpack Sting. Then he went back to the Showtime Sting. So Sting had the whole 90s sold up. Number 1 star from WCW. So we're going to put Sting in that 2nd spot. In the 3rd spot in that Mount Rushmore list, we're going to give it to the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart. In the 90s, he was a tag champion, intercontinental champion, WWF champion. Carried the new era on his back. He had great matches with Diesel, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, Goldust, a King of the Ring winner, won the 1994 Royal Rumble where him and Lex Luger went over the top rope at the exact same time. So they both won, so they both fought Yokozuna at WrestleMania that year. Have a Mount Rushmore of the 90s and not put Bret the Hitman Hart in it. From him doing everything he did in WWE, jumping over to WCW and ending his career over there. I mean, Bret Hart, you can't say the 90s without Bret the Hitman Hart. So he's taking that 3rd spot, all right? The 4th spot, we're going to go ahead and give that to Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Hollywood Blondes. He went over to the WWE in the mid 90s as the ringmaster with Ted DiBiase and the $1 Million Belt. To him winning the King of the Ring, the Royal Rumble. I mean, he had the later half of the whole entire 90s sold up. He was maybe the biggest star WWE ever seen. So those 4 right there is gonna most definitely be my Mount Rushmore of the 90s. It's Sting, The Undertaker, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Stone Cold. Moving on into the 2000s, my Mount Rushmore pick for the 2000s. This right here, I was a teenager, so I remember everything from 2000 to 2009. Alright, my first pick in that is going to be Triple H. I believe Triple H won the belt at the end of 99, so he had the belt coming into 2000. Had that great match with Mick Foley in New York at the Royal Rumble. The defending his belt and keeping it at WrestleMania, to him getting hurt and missing the entire invasion angle. Like, that's crazy. Like, what if he was there at the invasion? Like, what role would Triple H? I feel like if Triple H was there, the invasion angle would have been a little bit differently, but that's the topic for another video. Getting hurt in that tag team match, tearing his quad, coming back in 2002 and winning the Royal Rumble, winning the belt at WrestleMania that year. Him going on his reign of terror from 2003 all the way to 2005. Him starting up DX again in 2006. I mean, going on his own all the way in SmackDown, holding the belt down over there. Triple H had the entire decade sold up, all right? So Triple H taking a spot in the Mount Rushmore list of the 2000s. Since we're going to go with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. A lot of people love his first run in the 90s. I do too, but I feel like his run in the 2000s was even better than that. Coming back and facing Triple H at SummerSlam, winning the first ever Elimination Chamber match, going into WrestleMania 19 with Chris Jericho, going on that great 2005-2006 run, those classic back-to-backs with Undertaker, and ending his career at WrestleMania. I mean, that was in what, 09? No, that was actually in 2010. So, like, man, you cannot have a Mount Rushmore 2000s list without Shawn Michaels being in there, all right? Next spot of the Mount Rushmore list, I'm going to go with none other than John Cena. All right, John Cena made his debut in 2002, started his rapper thugonomic gimmick in 2003. That made him a huge star. Having a great Royal Rumble. He came as the runner-up in the 2004 Royal Rumble. No, he came as the runner-up in the 2005 Royal Rumble. But he ended up winning a triple threat match against Big Show and Kurt Angle at No Way Out. Beat JBL at WrestleMania 2021. That was the one in Hollywood. Held that belt for so long. I mean, from holding it down in 05 to turning his character into the Marine John Cena in 2006. Super Cena by the end of the decade. I mean, John Cena was the man. I even bought his album. Alright, I might do an album review on what the album was fire. Alright, so John Cena is taking that third spot at the Mount Rushmore. And the last and final spot for the 2000s Mount Rushmore, we're going to go with The Rock. Alright, The Rock was smoking hot at the top of his game. Prime Rock in 2000, 2001, 2002. He put over Brock Lesnar in 2002, left to do movies. Came back in 2003 as Hollywood Rock. Came back in 2004 as helping Mick Foley fight Evolution in WrestleMania 20. We didn't see him too much after that. I mean, he came back a little bit at the Diva Search, stuff like that. But what The Rock done in those years puts him in that Mount Rushmore list to me. All right, so my Mount Rushmore for the 2000s is Triple H, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, and The Rock. All right. The first pick in the 2010s, I'm going to go with Randall Keith Orton. 2009, he shaved his head and got all crazy and whatnot. Believe he won the Royal Rumble twice in that decade. Main event in WrestleMania. I know he won the belt at WrestleMania one of them years. Randy Orton pretty much had that whole decade sold up. Unifying the WWE and World Heavyweight title in 2013. Having that banger with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, getting bust open by Brock Lesnar at one of them SummerSlams. Randy Orton is gonna go on that Mount Rushmore list in the 2010s to me. All right, my second pick for the 2010s, we're gonna go with none other than the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. All right, what Brock Lesnar done in his first run, that might be a video for another day, but in those 2 years that he was in the WWE, he became a legend. But I feel like he did a little bit more in his second run, and that's why he's on this Mount Rushmore list. To coming back and having that crazy match at Extreme Rules with John Cena, having them 2 brawls with Triple H at SummerSlam and WrestleMania, beating Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, destroying John Cena at SummerSlam, having a great match with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. He didn't wrestle often, but when he did, it was a huge show. And with that being said, Brock Lesnar is going to go in the 2010s Mount Rushmore list for me. The next pick in the Mount Rushmore list for me is going to be Roman Reigns. All right. This ain't the tribal chief. This is the big dog, Roman Reigns. He came in with the Shield 2013. Almost winning the Royal Rumble in 2014. Winning it in 15. At WrestleMania 30, the Shield came out with them skull masks. I was in the building. That was fire. Having a great match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. Even the rematch at WrestleMania 34, I was in the building for that. Cannot believe he lost. Blood everywhere. I mean, Roman Reigns was just that guy. He got a lot of boos back then, but in ring, promo, everything, superstar status, he just got a whole lot better. And you can't go without the 2010s without Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is my third pick. And the fourth pick for the 2010s is going to be Seth freaking Rollins. Just like Roman Reigns, their career was pretty much like this. Seth had big moments by breaking up the Shield. Crazy match with Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam after he got hurt. Coming back and fighting Triple H at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins held it down for that whole decade. Seth Rollins is going in that spot for me. Mount Rushmore for the 2010s is going to be Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Alright. So the 2020s is starting now. We don't know who's going to be the Mount Rushmore just yet. But because you never know, because they called The Rock one of the best superstars from the 90s, but The Rock was only there from 97, 98, 99. So it's really a superstar only need a couple years to make a huge impact. Just like Brock Lesnar, just like Yokozuna. I mean, it is what it is. So, but I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions of who I think might be the Mount Rushmore for the 2020s. So my first pick is going to be none other than the OTC Roman Reigns. He has a new character. Talking about with the bloodline stuff and all these great storylines. He has to be one of them. My number 2 pick probably be Cody Rhodes. Starting off the 2020s with AEW, you know, in the underground, trying to build his stock up to making the jump over, winning the Royal Rumbles back-to-back, main eventing, you know what I'm saying? Main event in WrestleMania. So the second spot for me is going to be Cody Rhodes. The third spot, I'm gonna say Braun Breaker. I was a huge fan of his pops and his uncle. I feel like right behind the Dudley Boys, they're the second best tag team ever. To the old video stores, getting all those matches with the Steiner brothers, them hitting Steiner lines and Frankensteiners and stuff off the top rope, man, they were crazy. But I feel like Braun Breaker has what it takes to up his game, become a main eventer and a great character in wrestling, and really hold it down for the 2020s. So my third pick will be Braun. And my fourth pick, it's kind of hard, but I'm going to go ahead and say Gunther. Gunther started off in the 2020s at the NXT in the UK. Jumped over, lost all that weight, been putting on bangers after bangers ever since. So we're going to go ahead with Gunther. So those are my predictions. But man, hey, if I'm tripping, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I want to know. Y'all let me know in the comments. And also I want to know, y'all can pick an era. In any era y'all pick, give me y'all Mount Rushmore in the comments. I want to know. I want to see what y'all think. I want to see if it match mine. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Yeah, but that's my Mount Rushmore for each decade in pro wrestling. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Man, like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, man. Get with your boy.